So with the end of Milan Fashion Week, I'm on to my next Italian adventure, and this time I am in Puglia, which is the boot of Italy, and it's a region that is gorgeous and not to mention amazingly known for its food. So join me in this vlog to learn more about Italian food, fashion, and culture. Hi everyone, this is part 2 of my Italy vlog, and if you haven't seen my previous episode, basically I've been here in Milan for a week for Fashion Week and also to see friends and family and eating, shopping, catching up with my best friend, and just having a lot of fun. And for part 2, this one will be focused on traveling to Puglia, which is like the boot region of Italy. And I'll be with my boyfriend. He needs to go down there for business. He has a menswear line, so we're going to see the people there who are involved in that. Yeah, that's about it. So I hope you guys are, going to learn something from this. I try to make it as informational as possible. And let's go ahead and see what the rest of Italy has in store for me or for us. So before heading down, we had a night to spend in Milan, so we decided to stay at the Chateau Montfort again, which is one of my favorite hotels in Milan. It's absolutely gorgeous and very unique, and we went to the spa and made sure to take advantage of that perk. So checking into the room, we had one of these little fairy tale inspired rooms, and it was pretty spacious on the first floor, coffee machine and everything. Definitely loved it. And then the bathroom is also very adorable. The classic, European bidet and a bathtub. And then not to mention, we had an amazing view of this church that was right outside, but we had to make sure not to change, because people could see us from their cars. So my boyfriend was arriving, so I decided to lay down, take a little rest, and get ready for the evening. So finally, it was time for dinner, and me and my best friend picked out this very adorable and low-key place in Navigli, which is essentially an area close to the canals, and the food did not disappoint. Like, look at his face. So both of the gentlemen got a cotoletta, and I think Helen got some sort of tuna, and then my food was a beautiful plate of like this ravioli with shrimp on top and a pesto sauce. And then for dessert, we got a mixed berries and cream tart with another one that had little crunchy, crispy layers of flaky dough. And then after stuffing ourselves to the brim, we headed over to the main area of Navigli, which is more crowded and more touristic, to take a little walk our food off, and then go for a drink.
Hey, picture.
It's a video.
It's a video.
The bar we ended up going to was a pleasant surprise. The drink menu was very adorable, and each drink had its own category and theme, and they could even tell you which drinks were stronger and which drinks were lighter. And we had a great time chatting, having our drink, and of course, I took forever to figure mine out, but I ended up getting something light, as always. Before catching our morning flight, we had breakfast in the hotel, which was absolutely amazing. There was such a wide array of breakfast options available, everything from freshly squeezed juice to freshly made cakes. And you can see here we were very happy, and my plate had a lot of variety. And after a very short flight of about an hour, we finally arrived in Puglia to the Bari airport and made our way over to the first location that we needed to go to for my boyfriend's business affairs. And then we met up with his new associates at a local cafe to have a snack before heading to our bed and breakfast. The space ended up being really cool. It was a sort of underground cave that definitely had a lot of history connected to it. And in addition to a hot tub, we also had a lot of other really great amenities. And thank God we made use of the hot tub because it was something that was out of this world. And then after settling in, they got straight to business talking about different fabrics and different methods for bringing a suit design to life. And then one of the owners took us on a little tour of the town, and I just absolutely adore the silence and the authenticity of these sort of spaces within a larger region. And then finally, it was time to eat again, so we had this beautiful pizza before heading to bed and getting ready for the next day. So another day in Puglia, another day to eat delicious pastries for breakfast. So we had a nice traditional breakfast here, and then made our way over to do some more business things, like selecting the specific fabrics that he wants to use to help bring his designs to life. And then we even stopped by the fabric warehouse of the owner's parents to see if there were any fabrics there that we could use as well. The next stop was a place where they exclusively sell buttons and other accessories like patches that go onto clothing items. So we had a lot of fun choosing which ones my boyfriend wanted to use, and I had no idea that this process could be so time-consuming and so complex. We then made our way down to another area. I don't remember what it's called, but here you could really see the ocean and all these cute little sailing boats, and we met up with the photographer who would come later to the shop and take pictures and get content of everyone. And then we made a quick little pit stop to take Ambrogio's little cute furry friend outside for a bathroom break. And then when he was done, we hopped back in the car and went back to his shop.
No, l'armatura è la stessa.
Ah, ok, l'armatura è la stessa.
Cambia la finezza e il filato, insomma.
Chiaro.
Serve più per l'appassionato.
To be honest, just being here, I learned so much about what goes into making menswear and suits in particular, and it's not an easy process. So later that night, the owners invited us to dinner with their close friends, and we had a pretty good dinner. And then we headed off to another very famous area, very well known in the Puglia area, called Polignano a Mare. And this is like the prime spot for beaching it in the summer. It is absolutely gorgeous and stunning at night. So I can't imagine how it is during the day, and especially if you're going to pass a day there on the beach and enjoying the water. And although it was pretty chilly, the last stop of the night was of course to get a gelato, and this place was incredible. They serve granita, which is like kind of a shaved ice with a fruit flavor, and then the traditional gelato. So I got a fior di latte flavor, and I was not disappointed. And after this, we just walked around and finished off the night. The next day we woke up, and since it was our final day, there was a lot to do, so we headed to a place called Locorotondo. And this was a very elegant and charming place with its own sort of feeling to it. And Ambrogio gave us a tour. We walked around, saw maybe if there was somewhere to eat. And overall, we had a really pleasant experience, just, taking in all the beauty, all the art, and everything that this area has to offer. The final stop of the day was a very well-known place that attracts a lot of tourists from all over the world. And this was Alberobello, and we walked through the farmer's market, which featured live pets and a lot of food. So we stopped and we got ourselves some taralli to take home with us, and then continued our tour of the city. During the course of the walk, we happened to stumble into one of the oldest and most historic little shops where they make hand-woven textiles such as table mats and scarves, and the machine is the only remaining machine of its kind in its original form that is here in Alberobello. So it was super cool to see this big piece of history and how it has remained very consistent and present in the culture. Then it was finally time for a beautiful terrace lunch where we really had a lot of amazing food, a lot lighter than the previous days. We started off with some delicious cheese selections and salumi, which was followed by some raw seafood carpaccio and also a delicious beef carpaccio with shaved Parmesan cheese. And then to top it all off, we had a very traditional sausage dish, and then also little spezzatini, which are pieces of meat, and everything was absolutely delicious. After lunch, we continued the walk, making sure to see more of the city and other beautiful elements that are here in Alberobello, and then we saw a sign for wine and limoncello, so we decided to stop for a little mid-afternoon pick-me-up, and it definitely did not disappoint. We then took some time to browse typical products from the area, and then we ended up looking at some really cool vintage inspired posters and ended up taking a couple of them home. At the end of the day, although we were definitely exhausted, we had one last stop to make to figure out some details and to finalize fabrics and other things. And then after we had wrapped that up, we were soon on our way to the airport and heading to our next destination. After a pretty hellacious journey, we made it to my boyfriend's hometown near Venice and took the morning to work out outside and to get back on track after having a very rich Pugliese diet. And it was just beautiful to be in nature and to, pick some flowers before we had a lovely lunch prepared by his mom, and we really had the day to just catch up and relax. After taking the morning to recharge, we headed to a very popular shopping outlet where we walked around and took a look at some of the shops, and there was everything here that you could imagine, from low end to high end. It had it all. On the way home, we made a pit stop at a very nice bakery to pick up a few sweet things for dessert and headed home to have dinner with his parents. And then once we finished dinner, we headed out to this sort of community festival and fair where there was a lot of street food, games, and this sort of carnival feeling. Bright and early the next morning, we made our way over to Brescia for the baptism of his cousin's baby, which was absolutely beautiful with stunning views. And this basically ends our Puglia trip, because after this I headed back to Milan and, finished out my final week of this trip. So if you guys want to see what I was up to my final week, make sure to stay tuned for part 3. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.